this. Okay. I'll remember to send it out.
Yes.
I'm so excited about this. Thank you guys so much for joining. We're going to talk about sponsoring. Amanda and I have been talking about this a lot lately. I feel like all the leaders constantly are talking about this. So I'm excited to hear everybody's approach on this. And I'm super proud of you guys for showing up. And if it's okay with all of the other leaders that are here, I am going to have everybody who is joining go ahead and comment your name in the chat, and I am going to gift a random person with a Starbucks gift card as just a random surprise thank you for showing up. I'm not going to do this every time I do these calls. I normally don't do this, but this is important, and sponsoring is important if it's something that you want to grow. So everybody needs pumpkin spice lattes in their life too.
Yes.
So comment your name, and we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm Nicole Atnett. For those that don't know, I am a director out of Mount Juliet, Tennessee, and we've got a couple of other directors and above here joining us. So Vanessa, you're first on my screen if you want to introduce yourself, and then Amanda, you'll go next.
Yeah, perfect. My name is Vanessa Rowe. I'm a director with Scentsy. I've been with the company for 8 years. Started really working my business in 2020. Everything's tripled in size in a matter of a year because 6 months of hard work will put you 5 years ahead. So here we are, guys. Welcome, welcome.
Woo, yeah. Hi, guys. I'm Amanda Swan. I'm an SSD in Maryland. I'm Nicole's sponsor, which I'm blessed that she is mine. And I've been with Scentsy since 2014. So I love it here, and I'm excited to chat with you guys tonight.
Okay, Shonda, I see you next.
Hey guys. So my name's Shonda Maynard. I'm a Superstar Director out of Eastern Kentucky, and I joined back in 2018. And I promoted to Superstar Director and Star Director and Superstar Director back in 2020, I believe it was. So
Dang, I'm like 2018. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Okay, and Carmen, I think there she is. Hi, Carmen. She's at her kid's game.
Sorry, I'm at practice. I kind of double booked myself tonight. But my name is Carmen Cordova. I'm from Arizona. I'm a Superstar Director, and I've been with Scentsy almost 8 years now. So it's been a fun ride, and I'm excited to join you guys tonight. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be like on and off, but I was like, I'll just show my face for a little bit, and then if I feel like it gets too crazy, I'm gonna mute myself and take myself off. But I'm excited. I also want to say that's so awesome that you guys all showed up, because sponsoring is super important, and I thought it was really cool that Nicole invited me, so thank you.
Yes,
I'm excited to share things tonight.
Yeah,
so.
And thank you all so much for coming. And yes, I totally get it, but you know what? This is proof is in the pudding, guys. We all have crazy lives, but we still can show up. We can still make time. We can go sit out in the bleachers or sit out in our car and make it happen. So just tossing that out there for what it's worth. So yes, and whoever's just joining, if you guys will just comment, just so I can kind of get a roll call, and I'm just going to send a little Starbucks gift card to one lucky person for whoever's joining. Okay, let's jump into you guys. So sponsoring, this is a perfect month to kind of have this conversation, because we obviously by now, I'm sure you guys all know, we have a join special. I'm curious to know how it's gone for everybody. I don't know if that's where we want to start. We kind of tossed out the idea of doing like the Go for the No challenge, and Amanda and I have been talking about this, and it failed miserably with our groups. We didn't have anybody comment. No one reported back. Yes, same. Okay, Carmen, did you guys have any luck? Shonda, did you guys, were people going for the no, or is that the big scary part of it all?
whenever Amanda
No,
asked,
I did have people. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. You're fine.
When Amanda told me about this, I was kind of late to the game as far as posting it. So my team didn't really have much time when I challenged them to go for the no. So we didn't really have any responses from it either.
How about you, Carmen?
I was also kind of late to posting. I posted it the same day, but I feel like I got so busy that I didn't really like explain it or talk about it enough in the beginning. I did have some people that commented, which I was like, that's super cool. And then one girl commented how many yeses she had, which I was like, that's really cool, because she said that she kept asking a lot of people and she was surprised how many yeses she got, which, I mean, yeah, we're going for the no, but it's really cool when you get all these yeses at the same time, right, when you weren't even trying. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I'll just kind of dive into this. So Amanda and I have talked about this a lot, obviously, because she is my sponsor. And then we run a group page together as well. And I think some of it might have to do with personalities. Some of it might have to just do, like, if you're an introvert, if you're an extrovert, if you know a lot of people, maybe it's the way you ask. I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but I've admitted to Amanda in the past that I try to understand the struggles, but because I'm so extroverted, it's tough for me because I could ask anybody anything, but I know a lot of people don't feel that same way, and that ask doesn't come as natural to them. So I try to understand the sides of it where not everybody wants to go out, and ask those questions. So I'm a person where I like to try to find like the root of the problem. Like there has to be an explanation for what is the scary part of sponsoring, but I don't really know if it's one specific thing that holds people back, if it's a variety of different things. The join special pops up, and then you think, oh, this is going to be the time, like we're going to have all these people join our team, and then it's not as much as I think you were expecting. I don't know if you guys feel that same way as leaders, but you look at it and you're like, I was expecting it to be so much more for $22. But I think a lot of it, in my personal opinion, I think starts further back than that. It has to do with prospecting and building those relationships and having that bigger pool of people to chat with. But I just going off what you said, Shonda, so you joined in 2018. So I'm going to go ahead and put you on the spot first if you're up for it. So you joined in 2018 and you promoted to star director and then superstar director in 2 years.
Yes.
Okay.
And
so
it
I would
months of each other. It was during the extreme hyper growth. So I went from director and almost being in the queue, and it was literally like within 8 months that I hit superstar director. It was hyper growth craziness.
So I'm assuming that sponsoring probably had a lot to do with that. Would you
Sponsoring
say?
had a lot to do with that. I also hit annual mentor that year, and I think the year prior. So I was sponsoring like crazy at that time. And then again, with the hyper growth, a lot of my team, our numbers tripled pretty much during that time. And I like being transparent because now me and Amanda talk about this a lot too. Like we had the hyper growth, and then now we're kind of trying to figure out what the normal is. People went back to work, people are out more, and my numbers have went down, but I'm seeing who is staying and who is really working, and we're still growing. I still have people, we still have people, Stephanie's on here. She is killing it. She is hoping to hit director this month, and we still have people pushing, but it's nothing like what it is. So we're trying to find the new normal. But those people who are sponsoring and who are showing up, their businesses are continuing to grow.
So real fast, everybody who's joining, go ahead and type in the comments, list anything that holds you back from making the ask specifically. Why, if you're not sponsoring, what would be the reason? Is it because you don't feel like and have enough people to offer it to? Is it, whatever the reasons are, put it in there, and then we'll kind of go through that.
I was going to say, don't give them the reasons. Let them come up with the reasons.
Yeah, you guys come up with the reasons. Don't have me do it. And while you guys are typing that, y'all go for it. If while they're, because I think we'll respond to the things that they say when they come in. But if anybody has anything just before we see their answers, just about sponsoring in general to add, take it away.
I can comment real quick. For me, I feel like so much of like our business in general is our own, like it's our mind. Like our mind gets the best of us. I know for myself, like I think either like I make up all these things in my head and scenarios that are happening and like nothing's even happening. So I'm like, oh, like I tell people like you can't make up people's mind for them, but like I feel like everybody does it without realizing that you're doing it. And that's even for like sponsoring. You're like, oh, they're too busy, or oh, they don't have this, they don't have enough money, they don't have this or that. I mean, obviously we have the join special this month, but there's a lot of things that we put in our heads, and we kind of have to coach ourselves to not to not think it, but like to not let it get in our heads to stop us from talking to people or talking about it, or I don't know, like that's one thing that I've noticed though over the years, that people like in the forefront are like, no, because they're too busy. No, because they don't have enough money. No, because this or that or the other. Or just in general, like direct sales, like we hear so much negative feedback about direct sales all the time, but it's our job to teach people why direct sales is so amazing. And even me, like I went from working a full-time job and Scentsy full-time for 4 years to getting laid off from my corporate job, which I'm not saying a corporate job is bad, but it taught me like, yeah, there's corporate jobs out there, but like that doesn't mean that you have job security in a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. So it's all about mindset. It's all in like just what you're thinking ahead of time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And what you just said, Renee mentioned that, yes, making the assumption that they wouldn't be good at selling or that they don't have this like friends and family who they could sell to. And something else you said, so we'll dive into this. She mentioned, Renee, and I hope it's okay, I'm putting you on the spot, that she feels like she won't have time to sponsor. Amanda, you and I talked about that not too long ago too. And I think that's something that at some point or another, every leader in this business has heard from someone. Who wants to start down that rabbit hole about?
Well, I'll piggyback on Carmen real quick because she talked about that we make up the reasons for people not wanting to join. And so if you're on my team, you know, I'm really big on excuses, and that's the excuse we give ourselves for not having to ask, guys. So it's just another form of excuses. And we all do it. I still do it to this day. I will wait days and days and days to ask somebody because I'm telling myself, as kind of a defense mechanism, oh, they're going to say no because of X, Y, and Z. So like, once you can realize that you're doing that, right, that you're like making decisions for them, and just take a step back and be like, you know what, I don't know their circumstance. And you guys, we have to remember that not everybody joins to get rich. Like there are so many people on your teams that probably just show up for the social aspect of it. Or just show up because they want to get out of the house or whatever it is. It's not about making thousands of dollars a month for everybody. So we have to try to, you know, tell ourselves that we can't decide why somebody doesn't want to join. I just really wanted to touch on that because I just spoke about that in the Boss Up group. Like it's super important to me because it's such a big defense mechanism and we all do it. I guarantee every single one of you, if you had your camera on, you would be like, yep, I've done that before. I have made an excuse as to why somebody is going to tell me no. But just imagine if you just took that out and you just were like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you typed the message and sent it. Like what could happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always call that don't say no for them.
Yeah.
And the same goes for sales. Like don't say no, someone can't afford our products. You don't know their financial situation. Just like with sponsoring, you don't know what their needs are. Maybe they have some really deep-seated debt problems or financial issues that really prevent them from doing things that they want to do in their life. And by offering them that opportunity, you could change their life, but instead you're saying no for them. So I like to think of sponsoring as you're literally gifting them. It's a gift. Physically think about handing somebody a present that can change their life. And of course, here's the thing, like Amanda had already mentioned, life-changing doesn't have to be thousands of dollars. For some people, life-changing is $50 a month, $100 a month. Like that $100 makes sure that they have an extra, like they don't have to worry about groceries for 1 week. Or maybe that way they're able to go do that one thing for themselves or treat their kids or go on an extra date night or whatever that is. It's not for us to decide what they want to gain out of this business or how they define life-changing. But what I feel like we're doing, like, you know, that game where you like keep the ball up in the air,
Mm-hmm.
keep the ball, I feel like that's what we're all doing. We're like, oh wait, like hit the ball up. So what I wanted to touch on is the thing that that has helped me with sponsoring is this. Raise your hand in the comments, or if you're on the camera, raise your hand if you joined the first time someone asked you. Okay, now raise your hand if you joined after someone asked you multiple times. Because here's the thing, guys, most people need you to ask them more than once. If you think about marketing in general, not even just Scentsy, people commit to a purchase after seeing something 3 to 4 times. Okay. So think about why different marketing, Old Navy is a great example. So with Old Navy, what they do is they send you text reminders. They constantly are showing up, or even your Facebook. If you're like scrolling through things and then you scroll through something for too long, that registers, and then that ad's going to keep showing up. And then when you leave something in your Old Navy cart, they're going to send you a message in your email to say, hey, are you done shopping? Because the more exposed you are to that product, the more likely you are to pull the trigger and make the purchase. Same goes for join conversations. The more you have that conversation, the more seriously someone actually thinks about it. So I have someone that just joined this month, and I've asked her to join several months ago. I asked her to join on the 1st of this month, said, hey, there's a $22 join special. You spend a lot of money with me. Even if you just sell to yourself, it'd be a great deal. She said she would think about it, but she wasn't sure. So then I told her 3 times this week. We had 3 join conversations just this week, and she joined. But if I would have left it at just the first conversation this month, she would not have. If I would have left it at the second conversation this month, she would not have. And if I would have left it at the third conversation, she would not have joined. It was because I simply said, hey, I have a free kit. Are you interested? Or, hey, you know what? You're placing this order. You should just make commission on that. Or, you know what? No worries. There's no pressure at all. I just need to go. I need to know an answer from you by this date before I close this party. And that final reminder was what made her jump off that fence, that little bit of pressure. But again, she had thought about it multiple times before she pulled that trigger. So,
and if it was a hard no from the beginning, I feel like the people in this case, this could just be me, but if it is a flat out no, right, they're going to be like, nope. Like, no.
Right. And I feel like you can read that. Like, you know, if someone's like, oh, I'm kind of thinking about it, or not right now. That is my favorite one. But even if you just think about how different your life was 6 months ago versus now, versus how different your life's going to be in 6 months. In 6 months, someone can lose a job. Their spouse can lose a job. They have major car problems. They have to replace their furnace. Different financial and circumstantial things come up where maybe that answer was no 6 months ago, but maybe they really need income now. So that's why I'm a firm believer in just ask more than once. Don't leave it as unless Nicole said, of course, they are flat out, no, don't ask me again. Don't ask them again. But otherwise, I think it's important to check in.
Something you mentioned, and I noticed, Amanda, you didn't raise your hand too, but I don't know if you and I have the same answer. So Amanda didn't ask me, I came to her. And I'm saying this specifically because it's very important. I have talked about this, and sometimes people, I think I'm full of crap, but the majority of the people that I have sponsored have come to me to ask me if they can join Scentsy. And that's not by accident, y'all. It is not by accident. When I first got started in Scentsy, I hit the ground running, sharing all of the things. Now, granted, yes, I did have social media experience and background in that. And so I understood how algorithms and attraction marketing and those types of things worked. But that's how Amanda recruited or sponsored me, was she shared the Mediterranean cruise that she was going on. But that wasn't the first thing I had seen her post about Scentsy. When Scentsy first got the partnership with Disney, I was like, oh, but it was because she was continuing to share things on her personal page. I was a customer of hers and I had bought a couple of things, but it never crossed my mind. And it was strictly the attraction marketing that she was doing that made me go, this sounds kind of interesting. And I asked her if I could have a party down in Tennessee, all the way from Maryland, and she mailed me her testers. And then I said, I think I want to keep these. I think I want to become a consultant. And I will never forget, I asked Amanda, what happens if I don't place $200 in orders in 4 months? Am I going to get kicked out of Scentsy? And I promoted to lead consultant my second month in Scentsy. If I would have gone into it so worried about what was going to happen, it could have stopped me. But thankfully, Amanda was just like, don't worry about that. She didn't word vomit on me. She didn't give me so much information. That's something I was really bad at the beginning, was oversharing, which I still am. But that is important. The act of attraction marketing, if that is something that you guys have not looked into yet and you're not focusing on that, and that is not part of your daily activities, it should be. That's a whole nother convo for another day, but it's a good topic for you to explore. And I would say that all of the leaders here would raise their hands and say, yes, we have had our fair share of people come to us because of the attraction marketing and the things that we've shared. So when you guys get shout outs, when you guys get happy mail from your leaders, when you guys get something from home office, when you guys go on retreats, when you guys get together for sip and sniffs with your group, whatever it is, it can be something very small up to big things. Going to world tour. Oh my gosh, I just bought, I'm going, like right now, raise your hand or type in the chat if you are working towards the current incentive, for example. Are you currently working towards it? Are there people? Okay, I see some people starting to comment. Okay, if you are working towards it, but that's okay, Renee. It doesn't, and Mandy, y'all, it's not about, that's not what it's about. The second that Disney was announced, the year it was announced, I said, I'm going to Disney. I am going to Disney, y'all. And I put it out there to let people know that that opportunity was there, that you could go to Disney with Scentsy. I said, I'm working towards this. I don't know if I'm going to earn it, but you better believe I'm working towards it. Same thing with Alaska. I started asking for boot recommendations in September. I put that out there and people are like, dang, this girl has a lot of opportunity out there. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Something else, unless anybody else wants to kind of touch on that, I was going to hop over to something I saw a couple of people mention, which is the big, I don't have time to be a leader chat. Okay.
I think just really quick, I think that importance that you and I had both mentioned separately though, is just repeat asking and repeat exposure. Cause you can't just post once and expect people to be like, oh, I want to do what she does.
No.
Like Nicole did not make one post and people joined. That is consistency. And the same with like asking people, like I have asked this girl more than once. So just keep that in mind. And Nicole, take it back.
Yeah. All right. Shonda, I saw you.
Yeah. I was just going to piggyback on that just for a second, because I feel like, so a lot of people, raise your hand. We'll do another one of those. Raise your hand if you feel like, so say somebody comes to you and says, what do you do for a living? I know some people have trouble saying I sell Scentsy, or maybe you do something else, but some people don't want to mention Scentsy because people feel like it's not something real and it's embarrassing. Some people, I mean, how many of you guys have been like, I don't really know. Do I say I sell Scentsy? Like, how do I go about it? Because I've had a lot of people say that they don't really know how to go about it and say it. So just for example, how we was talking about people coming to us, I go and I get facials done every month. That's something that I reward myself with. I have the same girl who always does them, and she asked me what I did a couple months ago. I told her I sell Scentsy. I haven't like bombarded her with anything. I go in the next time and she was like, my husband really loves blueberry cheesecake. Whenever you join, do you have to join to make this a career? I was super casual. No, you don't have to do this. You can totally do it just as a hobbyist, just to get paid off your own orders. Then what does she do? Then she messages me and is like, oh my goodness, I'm really wanting that Hocus Pocus warmer. And I've seen you post that there's a $22 join special. I think I'm going to join. So sometimes it's the smallest things of not being afraid to say what you do and saying it proudly, like I see that you guys are saying in the chat, and then just sharing. Not only do we share why people should buy our products, but we need to share why people should join our team, because they are seeing what we are posting. I don't have to be like, join my team, join my team, join my team. You can show them in other ways, like how you're talking about how you're after an incentive. Or I even share like little things, like it might be a Tuesday and I'm at the park with my child. People notice those things. Or when they ask you what you're doing during the day, it clicks to them. And so you need to share all of the things, and it doesn't have to be join. And I'm not telling you not to do that. I definitely throw in, you can join for $22 this month. But just the attraction marketing and making people want to know what you do, making people want to know, does she really do that good with Scentsy? Can I really, make an extra $50 a month doing what she does? You need to show people why it would work for them. And it doesn't have to be so straightforward. If you just kind of go behind the scenes and share little things throughout your day, and don't be afraid to tell others, hey, I sell Scentsy. That's what I do, and I'm proud of it.
Absolutely. And I think Amanda, you touched on this a little bit, and then you just said this again, Shonda. It's, remember, everybody has something different of why this company may benefit them. And I forget that a lot of times because I focus on the money, even though I'll be the first one to say it. We don't need money, but I want my own money because I want to go buy Loungefly backpacks now. I've moved on from plants to backpacks, but then I have no problem being like that. That's what I want to, you know, buy Christmas presents and do those types of things. That's important to me. But if I were to reach out to someone, like for my sister, for example, she is so happy at her job. The leaving the 9-to-5 job aspect would appeal to her not. And she'd be like, but I don't want to leave my 9-to-5 job. I wouldn't, that's not something that interests me, but the travel does. That's something that interests her. She went to Alaska with me. She was like, yep, okay, this could interest me. So you have to remember that and that goes back way further behind that about getting to know the people that you're asking. I say this all the time. I preach it religiously. If it feels icky, then it's icky and you probably shouldn't be doing it. And that the reason behind that is because you don't reach out to the girl from high school you haven't talked to in 22 years and say, hey, want to join my team? That's not what you do. You are offering the opportunity to people that you already have a relationship to. And that's why it shouldn't feel awkward and uncomfortable to you when you are reaching out to them. But if you're sitting there when a $22 join special pops up and you go, but I don't have anybody to offer it to, then it goes even further back. And that's where the prospecting comes in. That is you needing to get out to meet more people in general. Maybe they'll become customers. Maybe they will become consultants. You don't know. They'll kind of figure that out. And as you plant the seeds and do the attraction marketing and all of those things over time, I don't know if Melissa Howard's still on here, but perfect example. I met her through a party and I noticed that she was going way back in my pictures and liking pictures from like a year ago. And I was like, she's looking at my profile. She's looking at all my Scentsy stuff. And I paid attention to that so that when we had the conversation, we had already had that relationship where we were talking about it beforehand. So it starts way back behind that. So in addition to what Shonda had mentioned too, about how you feel like you don't have time for it, I would argue to say that all 5 of the leaders that are on here run their business when it comes to leadership very differently. I know Amanda and I do. I know Vanessa and I do. I haven't talked to Shonda and Carmen a ton about it, but I think sometimes it's tough when you guys aren't in the leadership groups yet. It's probably difficult to visualize how much freedom you have as a leader, that it is truly up to you if you want to send out happy mail. If you'd rather do like Vanessa, she does not send out happy mail, she does voice messages, and I'll let her chime in on that, but it's up to you guys. My team, I tell y'all, I'm super extra. Y'all know I'm super extra. It's just who I am, but y'all don't have to do the things that I do. If you're loving on your team and you're helping them, that is enough. It's just showing up. You need to just show up for them. But however you do it, that's up to you. So Amanda, I'm going to call on you. You knew it was coming. So on that topic, because you and I are about as polar opposite when it comes to these types of things. We talk and she's like, girl, you are so much. And she's like, chill and mellow. We have very different approaches with those types of things. So no, I'm glad that you called on me because I saw the questions about I have too much time. And so for those of you on here, I would love you to type in the chat how much time you think a leader spends a week leading. So how much time do you think you spend doing leadership tasks? I would love to know. And while you guys think about that and write it, you have to realize that your workstation has literally somebody could join your team and never hear from you a single day and they could be successful in this business. Your workstation has every single thing that they need to know how to do. When that new person texts you and says, I don't know how to enter a party order, you know what your job is as a leader? It's to go to workstation if you want, or you could just direct them to workstation. But normally I'm nice enough that I will go to workstation. I will find the video on how to enter a order and I will send that video to them. You guys,
These people just started their own business. You're not hand holding their hands to enter an order. You're not telling them how to use their website. You're not teaching them any of the things that our workstation teaches them. And that is literally the almost everything you need to know. Sure, our workstation doesn't teach them how to be a good, good at attraction marketing or how to take good pictures or Facebook algorithms, that kind of stuff. But like how to run their business, how to promote the product, how to enter an order, that's all covered, guys. And as leaders, it really is your job to set the precedence of what you're offering to them when they join. So I'm sorry, I'm going to use these words, but you don't need teammates that you have to hold their hands and that they are leeches. Okay. Those are the two things I always like to say. If you think of them as children, if you wipe your child's butt until they are 10, they are going to let you wipe their butt. But if you teach them how to wipe their butt or tie their shoes when they are 3, you don't have to tie their shoes anymore or wipe their butt anymore because you've taught them how to do it or they've learned how to do it. Okay. It's the very same in this business. And Nicole knows this because when she first started building a team, she was consumed with questions from teammates, consumed, and she wanted to help them and answer them. And to her, that's what she was supposed to be doing. And to her, that's what made her a good leader. And I think finally, after lots and lots of voice messages of me telling her, you got to stop. They have to figure out some of this on their own. They really do, because you cannot do this for 100 or 200 or 300 people. It is not physically possible. So you guys have to try to realize that we are here to like support. Leaders are here to support. And all of this extra stuff that we do, like these Zooms or trainings that we put together and all of that kind of stuff is all extra. It's not something that you have to do. And it's really not something that you really not should be doing, because you should do whatever you want to do, but it's not expected. Like there are, most people that are certified or lead or even star consultants aren't hosting Zooms like this or creating training programs. That's things that people like Nicole are doing because she's watched other people do it and learned how to do it. And she has a group big enough that it benefits her time to put into it, to see that come out on the back end. So,
and I'm also weird. I like that's like what fills my cup. Like I'm a weirdo that enjoys those types of things. People are like, why would you plan this big training group? And I'm like, because I enjoy planning these things. Like it's just part of what I enjoy. But if you don't enjoy it, you don't have to do it. So I wanted to toss that in there too. Even with a bigger group size, that's not even what it is. It's just
no. Definitely. And so I see the comments, 5 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. I can't speak for everybody in this group, but I would say that the max amount of time I spend being a leader a week as an SSD and a group of almost 300 is probably 2 hours max. I don't know what if the other leaders want to chime in, but when I say being a leader, the tasks that I'm doing are talking to my team one-on-one, sharing things in our team page, doing shout outs and happy mail. That's the majority of it. I mean, the other stuff, sometimes I spend more time, like if we're working on a training program or something like that, or coming on this Zoom that is an hour long, but this is the only leadership Zoom that I'll do this week. So that mixed in with my, talking to my teammates, sharing in the team page and shouting people out, 2 hours a week, probably. What about you guys?
I would say the same thing. I probably work about 2 hours a week if you put just little miscellaneous things here and there. I do one team meeting for my whole group once a month for an hour, and I do team bingo. So I guess maybe more a month, but I really don't work a lot. And honestly, like the more experience you have, you learn time management. And if I always share that, like today I went for a walk with my husband. I did work on Happy Mail today, but I had already had everything set up. But I don't really like that was Happy Mail for customers. But throughout the week, you just learn time management. You learn how to do things. You learn that when you do spend time with your business, that it has to be of value, not just doing extra stuff unless you enjoy it. But for me, I have busy schedules with soccer practice and wrestling practice and everything else. So I have to be careful with my time. So the other thing I wanted to add real quick was when I first joined, my superstar director at the time, I joined under another, or well, my sponsor, but she joined like the month before me, I think, and literally hasn't done anything this whole time. So I like taught myself everything. I did have a superstar director that I could like talk to about things, but for the most part, I did everything on my own. And so whenever people say like, oh, I need a sponsor, or they want to be handheld, I'm like, no, like I don't do excuses, because I literally got to superstar director, and I'm not bragging. I'm just saying I did all of it by myself. And then when I would ask my superstar director questions, she would tell me to go to the workstation. Like literally that was her answer for everything. And I would get so frustrated. I remember, like, I didn't understand why she just told me to go to the workstation. And then once I started just going to the workstation, I realized like, oh, she's teaching me to look for things, or, you know, she would tell me how to find things, but I learned so much faster and better by that. So I started doing that too. But that's all I have
Yeah.
to add to that.
I was going to see before I jumped in if anybody else said anything. So when I first started, I remember I had questions for Amanda, and I don't even know if I've ever told you this, but like I'd go and I'd ask her questions, and she would literally respond to me, I don't know, what does workstation say? And she did it to me recently, and I was like, oh, I did it. Oh my God, I did it. Oh my God. Like I couldn't believe I mean, it just happens. Like it's natural for, you know, those things to happen. But she came out from the very beginning and said, I'm here to love on you, and that is my job. I will give you the resources. We have lots of amazing resources out there. YouTube is wonderful. Ask me questions and I'll point you in the right direction. It isn't always going to be well received. I've had problems with people on my team who don't like that mentality of them having to go and find it themselves. And sometimes people are going to think you're a B word because you do that. But like Amanda said, the leading aspect of it is supposed to be bringing you joy, you guys. That's the thing. There's a lot of people who I think before you're a leader, or before you have a decent sized team, where you're like, oh, I got to do this because I need that paycheck. And you're motivated by money when it comes to sponsoring, or maybe you're motivating because you want to earn that incentive. I'm not going to lie. I have been that person, especially when I first started. And there's still definitely times in the back of my head where I'm like, I need to sponsor. I won't lie about that. I'm like, I know I need to sponsor right now. I'm working on this trip. You know, there are selfish reasons in it for me too. I'm not going to deny that. However, the enjoyment that comes with leadership, when you can really hone in and just find the side of it that is focused on helping primarily women in a lot of cases find something out about themselves that they didn't know that they were capable of, or achieve a goal that they didn't think that they were going to be able to do, or to pay for their kids to go to Busch Gardens and they never would have been able to do that because they're a single mom, or fix their tire when it, you know, whatever the things are. And when they come back to you and say, oh my God, I did this and I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. Leadership and sponsoring and that whole thing, it shifts. It's a complete shift. I saw Amanda the first time that we went to Austin, when we went to SFR, and she was like a happy mom, just sitting there watching all her friends and all the girls up there just enjoying and soaking in SFR. And it does. I saw it this year with two of the girls that came with us who are on this call right now. It all just changes. But it's tough for you guys because until you get into that role, you don't really understand what all is out there with sponsoring. But there is so much joy that can come from it. And it's like, you almost just have to trust us. Like you almost just have to trust our word that there's so much out there. Yes, leadership can be exhausting. I'm not going to deny that. There are people that have made me want to rip my damn hair out of my head. But that's always going to happen. That's always going to happen. And you need to learn how to put up boundaries. You need to get systems in place. That's a big thing. Back in the day, if I were to answer that question that you just asked, Amanda, I would have said a week, probably 8-9 hours for all the things that I was doing. Now it is significantly less because I have systems in place that are working for me. So all of that being said, and then we're going to hop on to another topic. Just like you shouldn't assume that people are going to tell you no because you don't know what they're going through. Don't not become a leader because you're
Ethan.
assuming the negative things that are going to come from it, that you're assuming it's going to take a lot of time, because at the end of the day, guys, it's up to you. You choose how you lead, you choose your systems, you choose how much you want to put into it. And that truly is where I think a lot of it comes from. So all of that, moving on, I want to talk about sponsoring in general, like techniques, things that have worked for you guys, things that haven't worked from you. Just talk, because I think that comes down. What I did, I muted you, Paige, if that's why you're looking at me. I knew you didn't know. I saw Lauren's face. I think that is the biggest question when it comes down to sponsoring. Something I see most often is, I don't know how to make the ask. Is that something that would be helpful to go over? I'm looking at the people who are on camera right now. Most people have their cameras off, but okay. Callie said yes. I feel like that's like one of the most asked questions when it comes to sponsoring is like, okay, but how do I bring it up? So Shonda, I'm going to start with you. What would you say things that when it comes to sponsoring, what have you had the most luck with? So
Okay. So I think I went over a couple of things a minute ago whenever I was talking, but I also really like host flipping. I feel like that's always been really good for me because people might think that they can't sell, or I seen people commenting earlier when people was like, I'm not going to join because there's too many people in my area. I don't have anybody to buy. But then once they start, and even just a shopping link, whatever you might call it, once you start a shopping link and they see how well they've done and you praise them, wow, you're really good at this. You know, you've earned this much, you could earn this much commission. I always like adding in, you know, if you was to join and we flipped, this is how much commission you would join, because it kind of, or how much commission you would earn. And it kind of gets their mind, you know, thinking, okay, maybe I could do this. I got $500 in sales in 2 weeks. You know, maybe I am capable of this. So I really like host flipping. And then I try just a lot of attraction marketing. And I do reach out. Usually I start out with like my best customers, or, I mean, I look at people, I mean, you guys on Facebook all the time, people will be like, does anybody know of anybody hiring? They might not want that for a full-time job, but guess what? They might just want some extra money, and you can show them, you know, how Scentsy can be an extra stream of income for them.
So if you reach out, let me interrupt you real quick. If you reach out to that person, let's say that someone did see somebody on their Facebook wall that said, does anybody know anybody hiring? What would you do? And what are the literal exact words, if you don't mind sharing, of an example of what you would say?
Let me think. I'm horrible at words, guys. By the way, I usually trip all over my words. If you can't tell already, I'll always laugh. I'm like, people sometimes just go so fluently, I trip over my words all the time.
Well, while Shonda's thinking about what she'd say, I'll share what another leader has shared. And Nicole, you might remember this because I think we were together at SFR when, if I don't know if anybody knows who Rachel Pence is, but she's an SSD in the business. And she says that anytime she sees somebody post, does anybody know anybody that's hiring part-time or any work from home? All she says is, have you ever thought about doing what I do? That's it. She doesn't mention Scentsy. She doesn't say, do you want to sell? She says every single time, have you ever thought about doing what I do? And leaves it at that. If they're interested, they might say something, right? No, what do you do? All right, that opens the conversation. Or no, I don't want to sell anything. Fine, that's fine. Or not really. How does it work? Whoa, that's like, yes, that's like what you want to hear. Not really. How does it work? Let me tell you. So it's just simple, totally simple. And you have to have enough confidence to be able to post that on their thing, because you are putting yourself out there, right? I'm a Scentsy consultant. This is what I do. And I'm here to show you if you want. But it also takes I feel like that when I see that now on my feed, I never would have commented on those before, guys. I was like, nope. If they wanted Scentsy, they would come to me. Again, an excuse, right? A defense mechanism. But I do it every single time now. And it just puts the idea out there. So maybe it's not for them now. Maybe they need a lot of money and they need, a 40-hour gig or whatever, but it puts that idea out there. And now I've offered the opportunity, and now it's a relationship I can build on no matter what. So sorry, Shonda.
No, I love that. And I see people saying word vomiting. Now, I've done that before. And this is all a learning experience. You guys have to realize most all of us at one point in our business worked too many hours, and we had to learn to get away from that. Most of us has word vomited. We had to get away with that. or, and we've was scared to hear the word no, and we had to get, away from that. So we've all been there. And I definitely word vomited before. But I love Rachel's response to that. But a lot of times I feel like I usually say something like, have you ever considered making extra money with Scentsy? So it's pretty much the same thing, but I do like how she said doing what I do.
Yeah.
Over Scentsy. I do like that better. So I'm glad that you pointed that out, but I try to keep it short and sweet. That way they can ask me questions and we start a conversation. I don't just go in and say, this is what I do, yada, 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 so that they just leave me red. You know what I mean? Like I try to short so that they will ask questions about it.
I like that. Vanessa, I'm calling on you. We haven't heard from your beautiful self enough.
I know. I'm trying to stay quiet. You know how hard that is for me.
I know. I'm like, but I'm like, tell me, to everyone.
Tell me all the things.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
So let me pop in really quick just to say I spend maybe an hour a week on leadership tasks. Like literally, I saw all of your comments about 5 to 6 hours and I was like, oh God, no, I would never want to lead if I thought that too. But I literally spend probably an hour, maybe 5 minutes a day posting on my team page, maybe 15 minutes a week helping my team out in one-on-one messages, probably about 15 minutes a week in celebrating my team through voice messages or shout outs on my team, and then other little miscellaneous stuff, but really probably about an hour a week because you have to do what's authentic to you. I hate mail, so I don't send out happy mail. And I have a few girls on here that can probably tell you, do you guys feel loved on by me? Please, please, seriously, do you feel loved by me? Because if the answer is yes, then that's what's working for me. And I'm only doing it an hour a week. So that's just something I wanted to share with you guys, because it's really in your selling business, you have to do what's authentic to you to make sense you fit into your life. Same goes for leadership. Just think about it as you just have two sides to your business. So yeah, that's one thing I wanted to share. And then as for joint conversations, what really works for me, party flipping, like Shonda said, is, in my opinion, the easiest way to ask someone to join, because the latter, you give them two options. One, we flip your party. You get to keep the commissions. You get the PRV that helps you towards your first awards or whatever. You still get other rewards. You get to keep all of your half off items, and like they get credit for everything. So you get a kit, you get all these things. Or if they say no, they still get free stuff. So really, like, there's no like downside. Because for me, what holds me back from asking people, it's not whether or not they say no, it's what happens after they say no. I'm an overthinker. So I'm like, what if I ask them, they say no, and then they stop buying from me? Or then they have a bad taste in their mouth about direct sales or whatever. So that's where I get caught up in my head. But when it comes to party flipping, what happens if they say no, they get free stuff? Like there's no really like bad thing where they're gonna be like, oh my God, I can't believe she asked me to join, or that kind of stuff. So that for me is huge. The other thing that really works for me is taking yourself completely out of the equation. When I focused on myself and how I gained from leadership and how that helped me earn a trip or that helped me earn a promotion, when I focused on myself and what I gained, I noticed that our team numbers really struggled and I didn't do a lot of recruiting. As soon as I made recruiting and sponsoring and leadership, I removed myself from the equation and I turned it into a rather selfless thing. If you've ever heard the term a rising tide lifts all boats, keep that in mind, because here's the thing. When you pour into someone else and you help them achieve their own version of freedom or whatever life-changing looks like to them, when you help someone achieve that, they want to earn whatever their goal is. And when you help them do that, you feel good. And when they're working towards their goals, it's going to help you hit promotions and help you earn a trip. But really, at the end of the day, you're focusing on helping them to an extent, because you can't do it for them, like Nicole said. But when you focus on what you can do for someone else, you're offering an opportunity to change their life. You're not saying, hey, I want you to join so I can earn this trip. Hey, I want you to hit 500 in sales this month so that I can get trip points. Or I need you to hit active this month so that I have a bigger paycheck or I earn a promotion or whatever. When you make it about them, they're going to show up because they want to work for themselves and for their goals. Now, when I offer an opportunity to someone, I tell them I want them to join because I think they'd be good at XYZ, or because I think they'd benefit from XYZ. I don't even mention how it impacts me at all because it doesn't matter, right? So if I have someone who's a single mom, I'm going to mention, hey, you know what? I would really love to have you on our team because I think it would help bring in an extra stream of income for you guys. Or it would be something that's your own that you don't necessarily have to share with the kids. Or this is something that can fit into your life as a single mom. When I put it in their court as this is how you're going to benefit from this, or this is how it can fit into your life, or this is what you can gain, people then, it takes away the icky. Like Nicole, you mentioned that, like if it feels icky, it's icky, but I want you to offer it like you're offering a gift to someone. Think about, you have someone that's in need and you're offering them a gift. And if they say no, they just say no. It's okay because you're offering that gift. You're offering this opportunity from a place in your heart that is authentic, that is giving, that is selfless. And I think at that point, if they say no, it's not going to be perceived wrong because you're not coming at it as, hey, I need you to join and I need you to hit this sales goal so that I can earn this trip or so I can earn this promotion. And I think that's why direct sales has an icky name, is because people do that. Yeah. So I think just being authentic and talking about why it benefits them, that's what helps me. And I do the same thing for my customers. So my best customers, I ask them to join and I say, hey, I seriously think you should sign up for this because you've referred friends to me, or because you've been a successful party host, or because you spend a lot of money with me and you should be making commission back on that. Again, none of those are about me.
On that. So that is something that I know, and I know we're getting close to time. We started a little bit late. If anybody needs to hop off, and leaders, if any of you guys need to hop off, I want to be respectful of your time. But I'll probably have this go for another 10 minutes just because I had technical difficulties. The asking your best customer. So I won't even lie. I hate doing that because I sometimes do make the decisions for people and I'm like, she is gonna not be great at this and she's gonna then just stop buying Scentsy. Has anyone experienced that, where when you do ask somebody who is a really great customer and then they stop, they don't even buy from themselves, they were buying $200 a month from you and then they completely stop and you're like, wait, you joined and now you don't love Scentsy at all? Like, how does that happen, you know? But then you also can have people who join who are amazing customers of yours and they're on this call right now. You don't know, you just don't know, but
you can't say no for them.
Yeah, exactly. But that is something, just like you mentioned, that is a big for me, because there's some people where I'm like, oh God, I don't know. I don't want her to stop buying from me then too. And Amanda, I think it was you that mentioned at SFR where you said, if you ask someone and they was it you? Somebody who said it, where you then make sure you have a conversation with them later on that week, or like check in with them later on about like, hey, oh my gosh, I saw this Hocus Pocus card and I thought about like keep the combo going.
It'll be just about anything. If I ask somebody and I get a no, then I make it a point to anytime in the next few days, if they post on social media, a picture of their dog, I comment on it, or they put their kid up, I comment on it. I find a way to converse with them to let them know, like, you're allowed to tell me no, it's okay. Like, I'm okay with it. And I just want you to be okay with it. And life can go on as usual. So if you just make a point to just converse in any way possible, it doesn't have to be like message them, like, hope you're having a good day. No.
Hope you know I'm not mad at you. Don't do that.
No, but like just natural conversation, just normal, networking that you would do with them any other time they posted something or, shared a story or something. I always make a point to interact with that so they know, like, no hard feelings here at all.
Yeah.
That same thing. Like if I try to prepare myself, honestly, prepare yourself to, okay, they might say no. And if they do, it's no big deal. Like, and I usually just, act like it's no big deal. And I literally change the subject and might ask them another question. Yeah. And then I also always think about, like, it's one thing for us to ask somebody, let's say you're in the mall and we've all been in the mall and you see those people in the middle of the aisle that's trying to sell you some lotion. Yeah. And you walk up and they're like, hey, you want to try some of this? And you're like, no. And you're not offended that they asked you. You keep going. But when they keep going and you're like, okay, let me try to dodge them. There's the difference in that. If you just ask somebody and they say no and you ended at that, it's completely different. You are just thinking in your head. They are not going to think anything, I promise, especially if you don't make a big deal out of it. You just end it, change the conversation. And then, like Amanda said, continue to engage with them, continue to have conversations with them that's not even necessarily Scentsy based, then that's going to be a huge difference for them. And then back to the best customers that you were saying, you know, it is scary to ask our best customers. And I have totally had some of my best customers rock it. And then I have had customers that came on and they do nothing. And I will just tell you what I have done with some of them. Did you like being a customer better? I have totally asked them that before.
Really?
And they don't have to, yes. And then they'll come back and they'll buy. I don't know what it is. Maybe they're scared to do it themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Some people are just more comfortable. We have to think it's hard to, not everybody is going to enjoy doing this. Not everybody is going to. So some people can try it and they might not like it. And it's okay. They can go back to being your customer. And I'll let them know that. If somebody was having, like you said, placing $200 a month and then they go to purchasing nothing, something's wrong there.
Right.
And so I don't feel bad for saying, hey, if you liked being a customer better, you know, just let me know. And I've
Yeah.
had several do that. And then they come back and they're a customer and it's no big deal. I don't put a lot of pressure on them. If it's not something that brings them joy, then I'm not going to have them do it. And real fast, just because I never want to like interrupt anybody, but we go back to time spent on your business as a leader. I was horrible when I first started and I was working all of these hours. And then I was like, Shonda, you are staying at home so that you can have more time with your family. And here I was spending all of this time because I did not know how to balance it all. I went from like 50 people in my group to like 500 people in my group within like 8 or 9 months. And it was very hard to try to figure it out. I was answering everybody's questions right away. I wanted to be their help. I was available. You know, if somebody messaged me at 11 o'clock at night, I would message them back. And it was something I had to learn. And you do not have to do that. I have learned now. I work my business, like Amanda said, my leadership, maybe 2 hours a week. And, you know, Happy Mail, like you said, you love doing Happy Mail. I used to do that. Guess what? I found it to be stressful. Whenever I would have consultants say, I haven't got my Happy Mail yet, it would burn me up. Like, that's rude. And like, I did not like that. And for me, it comes down to, we do weekly trainings. You know, we do weekly Zoom calls. I go live in our page. I try to give post ideas daily in our group. I do shout outs for the top performers. I do emails. They're getting praise. They're getting things that they need, but I don't have to send Happy Mail out to let them know they're doing a good job. If that, you know, if it's something you enjoy, 100% do it. But if it takes the joy away from it, then you don't have to do all that stuff. But sometimes it does take, you know, kind of learning the hard way. But just know that you do not have to do all the things that you see other people doing to have a successful business. And then as far as one-on-ones, I do go through my reporting tab and I see those people who are showing up to the Zooms, who are, you know, showing up and, you know, they're getting close to promoting or close to 2,000 PRV. And I will reach out to those people and do more one-on-one trainings with them. And it doesn't have to take a lot of time.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna steal super quick.
Go
I
for it.
think this is so important because we were talking about recruiting your best customer. Here's the thing that I want every single one of you to hear loud and clear. A customer is not as valuable as a team member in the long run. Because here's the thing, as leaders, I think every single one of us can attest to this. More than half of my paycheck comes from my team sales. Less than half or about half of my sales or my commissions come from my personal sales. So I make more in commission off of my team now than I do off of my own personal sales from my personal customers. So I want you to keep that in mind that yes, it is hard to let go of that PRV when you flip a party. Yes, it is hard to let go of that PRV when you lose a consistent customer, but that can turn into such a bigger, better thing in the long run. So keep that big picture mindset open. Think about that as you recruit someone. And here's the thing, do exactly what Shonda said. If they don't do anything with their business, offer to invite them back as a customer so that you can spoil them that way. Because no matter how you look at this, you have an opportunity to help someone, which can then help you in the future, or you never know if you don't ask. So that's a huge thing for me. And if you're worried about PRV because you lost that customer, then you need to go find Nicole's trainings on prospecting, because the answer is your customer base isn't big enough. So think about it like a cup. If you keep adding customers into your cup, when someone joins and you lose customers, your cup is still full because you keep meeting new customers.
Yeah. I was going to mention that about prospecting. You hear people a lot talk about party flipping. When you watch a training on sponsoring, party flipping is brought up a ton. But guess what, guys? Guess what you have to be doing to be party flipping? Having parties. You can't party flip if you're not having parties. And that is such a big frustration. That is a whole nother convo for another day. But it is something we're all dealing with. We are all dealing with the frustrations of Facebook parties right now. I talked with Amanda about this yesterday. My parties are doing great. But then yesterday, I had somebody cancel and I asked 14 people to host. I counted it 14 and every single one of them told me no. Y'all, by the end of that, I was like, I'm so defeated. I'm so defeated. I've been told no 14 times. And then it gets awkward and all the things. So like, we feel it. I totally get it. And then all of a sudden, literally after I sent that message, I walked into my kid's school and her teacher went, hey, my Scentsy bars are smelling real great. And she looked at me and I said, oh my gosh, I forgot to bring you in catalogs. And she was like, we want to have a party. Literally like that, my luck changed. And now they're having a party. And then I just had someone else respond to me about hosting. So now I went from having one host who I don't really think is going to be the best. And then now I've got 3. So it can change, but you still have to be having parties. You've got to be prospecting. You've got to be meeting people. We're over time, so I'm going to touch on this. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments just so the leaders can see it. And then we'll follow up with those people individually. Something that I know a lot of people do, and this is something that has worked amazing for me. I've had 3 people join my team this month, and that is the biggest growth that I've seen since I got burned out on sponsoring a while ago. A lot of those conversations are coming from when I'm having parties or on pre-orders, and in my forms, I have at the bottom on a scale of 1 to 10, how interested would you be in selling or in doing what I do, in selling Scentsy or in earning free Scentsy? So I have one about parties and I have one about joining. And those people who are putting even 4, even 5, even towards the more, yeah, I'll think about it. It at least makes me feel more confident when I'm reaching out to them. It doesn't make it as scary for me, because if they put a 0, I'm not, or a 1, I'm not going to reach out to them. They are like, listen, sister, I ain't interested. I'm not just not going to right now. And that could change over time. But the people who are saying, hey, I mean, I'm not saying I'm against it. That at least is just making me feel more confident. It's making me feel more comfortable when I'm talking to them about it. And the people who I've followed up from all of those pre-orders, they all 3 joined. They all 3 joined this month. And one of those people was actually, I think they put a 4 on their list, that they were like, I'm busy. There's no way, there's no way I would ever have time to do this. So think about it. You have to be having more opportunities to connect with people. It's just like if you're not selling any Harry Potter warmers. My team has heard this a gajillion times, so you're going to hear it again. If you're not selling Harry Potter stuff to Harry Potter people, guess what? You don't know enough Harry Potter fans. It's not because people don't want to join Scentsy. It's not because people don't want to have parties. Your customer base is not large enough. So that is where it starts. It starts with building customers. Then it goes to building relationships, making those relationships grow, doing attraction marketing. So when a join special like this happens, or when you're looking for people to host a party, you have 100 people to ask instead of 2. And that has been when you start really focusing on those other things. If you say you're not good at sponsoring, I guarantee you it's because you're not doing those things that I just mentioned. I would bet a Starbucks gift card on it, y'all. Okay.
I just want to add one little thing, guys.
Yes.
When you think about your Scentsy business, I want you to think about, are you proud of your Scentsy business? Like, are you confident in your Scentsy business? Are you like, I know that Shonda had mentioned, like, are we scared to tell people we're a Scentsy consultant? When you're not scared to tell people you're a Scentsy consultant is when you know that deep down inside, you've become proud of the fact that you are one, and you need that to sponsor, because nobody wants to join they're not joining Scentsy, guys, they're joining you. At the end of the day, if they wanted to join Scentsy, they'd go to Scentsy.com and they'd click the join button and they'd get paired up with somebody random, right? They're joining you. Why are they joining you? When you go to the grocery store and every lane is open, do you pick the counter with the one that looks like
they're not happy to be there? Or do you go to the lane with the one that's like, over here, honey, come on, I'll check you out? That's the one you go with, right? It's the same in your Scentsy business. When you're like, yeah, I sell Scentsy, I'm proud, I go on trips, I go away, I hang out with the girls, I do Zooms at night and I have fun doing it. That's when people are like, well, dang, this is all around blessing her life in like a ton of different ways. That's who I want to join. That's how you attract people. So if you have these feelings of like, I'm scared that I'm a Scentsy consultant, or, oh, people don't like direct sales, or, oh, try and break out of that and be like, I'm a badass Scentsy consultant and I'm here to show y'all what's up. And you should come along for the ride, because that mindset change and that demeanor change will literally change everything. And the people, if you're like, how are these girls getting people to ask them if they can join? It does happen. When you are excited about what you do and you're sharing what you do and you're proud of it, people are going to come to you, along with you having to make the ask. That will never stop. But people are also going to come to you and say, hey, I've been thinking about this.
Real quick to end on this note, out of the 4 leaders, Carmen got kicked off and she messaged us like her internet was being crazy. But how have you ever been told, or how often are you guys told by someone that you know, a neighbor, a friend, a family member, geez, girl, you love that Scentsy? Have you been told that? Yes. That's what people say. And that's not by accident. It's because we are preaching it like the Bible, you guys. We are out there talking about it. We genuinely believe in it. That's why we get mad about the haters out there, because we know that why we're sponsoring that. We know we're not doing it for those awful reasons that they're saying. That's where a lot of the passion is coming from. And that's not an accident that people are coming up and saying, you are the Scentsy girl. You are the crazy Scentsy lady. And you're like, hell yes, I am. Okay. So if you don't think that anybody in your life and the people are watching you would ever say that to you, then you need to be sharing more. You need to be getting out there more. So I'm going to leave you guys with some homework, even though we're not meeting up again. You can, leaders, do with it what you want, but I'm just going to challenge you guys, all of us. I'll challenge us leaders too, because we also need to continue to be doing this. We don't get to just kick back and drink Mai Tais on the beach. We have to continue to be sponsoring and doing all of the things as well. There's a lot of things that we talked about in here tonight, but I hope, if nothing else, you guys have realized the reason that sponsoring, I think, is so difficult is because sponsoring is so much more. It is not just, hey, want to join my team? Awesome. Ooh, let's do it. There is so much else that goes on. Parties, prospecting, attraction marketing, all the other things that we mentioned. Assign yourself the homework, assign yourself the accountability to get off this call tonight. And instead of going and watching Yellowstone, pour yourself a glass of wine and go watch a training on YouTube about one of those topics that we mentioned tonight, and then do it. Give yourself a goal. Say, this week, I am going to post on my stories at least 5 times. Set an alarm in your phone, whatever it takes. This week, I'm going to finally go over to that shake shop and set up that warmer that I know I've been needing to do. And I'm finally going to call my kids' school about that fundraiser for this fall. And I'm finally going to do that vendor event, or whatever it is. Make your list, watch the trainings, and do it, and put it into action. And I promise, when you start doing all those other things that we mentioned tonight, sponsoring will start to come easier to you. I promise.
I want to add one
little
thing.
Yes.
So, just going back to, a lot of us are trying to earn an incentive right now, right? The best time to start sponsoring is during the beginning of the incentive. This is when you guys need to sponsor as many people as you can, because it's going to give you more time to help them, kind of understand the business more and help them get certified more, or help them have a better chance of getting certified by the end of the qualification period. So challenge yourself now. This is why you need to start reaching out to as many people and getting comfortable with hearing no and just getting over your fears. Because if you are trying to earn an incentive, you want to try to get those people to join your team early on.
Yeah. Yep.
I
agree. And I've yet to have anybody on my team earn a trip, and I've gone on them, and I want them to experience it, not for me, but for them. And that's another thing that all the leaders will say. I promise, guys, when we're doing these incentive trainings and when we're doing this, it is because we want you guys to come to leadership. We want you to be at that round table with not that many people at it at SFR. We want you to be on that cruise. We want you to experience those closed groups where we have already seen fun things that are coming that we can't share. Like there's so many perks. Boot camp. I'm going to home office for my first time next week. Like so many things, y'all. And it's tough because you guys, if you're not in leadership, it's tough for you to see that, especially if you're all my COVID babies, we were birthed during COVID, I say. So it's tough, but there are resources out there. You can look for it. You can find it. You can watch those trainings, invest in it, fall in love, watch just go back and watch all the SFR trainings from Heidi Norville from back in the day. And you'll be so fired up. You'll be like, all right, I'm going to do this. So all that being said, I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thank you all for the leaders for joining. I am so proud of each and every one of you who showed up tonight, who stuck around as long as you were able, even over time, to listen to all of this. And if you guys have struggles with sponsoring, I'm going to speak for all of the leaders. We are here to help you. If you are like, listen, I really want to grow my team, but I'm not, and this is what is holding me back, tell us. And we will say, okay, this is your homework. Go and focus on this. Okay. I promise. All right. Hugs and loves. I will let y'all know when I do I'll enter all the names in my wheel. I'll go back and look at the recording and I'll send a Starbucks gift card to somebody. Thank you guys.
Bye, guys.
I'll see y'all later.
Love
Bye.
you.
Love
You can
you.
do it.
Yes. Woo woo.